Today we're diving into one of the most controversial out-of-place artifacts ever discovered, the Salzburg Cube, a mysterious metal object allegedly found embedded in 60-million-year-old coal. But this isn't just another ancient artifact mystery. This is a case study in how legends are born and how a single photograph can fuel decades of speculation about our planet's hidden history. Picture this. It's 1885 in Wolfsegg, Austria. A worker at the Braunkohle foundry is breaking apart a block of brown coal when something incredible happens. Inside the coal, he finds a nearly perfect metal cube with precise edges and what appears to be a deep groove carved around its circumference. Now, let me explain why this discovery should be absolutely impossible. The coal from this Austrian mine dates to the Tertiary period, 60 million years ago. At that time, the most advanced life forms on Earth were early mammals that had just started diversifying after the dinosaur extinction. There were no humans, no civilization, and definitely no one capable of precision metalwork. Yet here was this cube, roughly 2.5 inches on each side, made of iron with traces of nickel and cobalt, with edges so sharp and surfaces so smooth that they seemed machine-made. The groove running around its middle was perfectly incised, as if someone had used a lathe or precision tool to create it. The foundry worker was amazed. Here was clear evidence of manufacturing skill from an age when such technology shouldn't have existed. The cube was examined by local experts, photographed, and became something of a local sensation. For decades, the cube was displayed as a genuine mystery. It made its way into books about ancient astronauts, lost civilizations, and impossible artifacts. Researchers pointed to its geometric perfection as evidence of advanced prehistoric technology. The precise groove, the perfect edges, the metal composition, everything seemed to support the idea that this was a manufactured object from the distant past. But here's where our story gets really interesting. In the 1960s and 70s, as the cube gained more attention in popular culture, serious researchers began taking a closer look at the evidence. And what they found was both fascinating and disappointing depending on your perspective. The real breakthrough came when researchers were finally able to examine the cube more closely. What they discovered was that this wasn't actually a precisely manufactured metal cube at all. It was something much more ordinary, but no less interesting from a geological perspective. The Salzburg Cube turned out to be a naturally occurring iron concretion, a type of mineral formation that can develop in certain geological conditions. These concretions can form remarkably geometric shapes through natural crystalline processes, creating objects that look artificial, but are entirely the product of geological forces. The groove around the middle wasn't carved by ancient tools. It was a natural feature called a parting line that can form when concretions develop in sedimentary layers. The sharp edges and smooth surfaces weren't the result of machining. They were created by the same natural processes that can produce perfectly geometric crystals and mineral formations. Now, I know what you're thinking. This sounds like scientists explaining away evidence that doesn't fit their worldview. But here's the thing about the Salzburg Cube that makes it different. We can actually test the competing explanations. Natural iron concretions are well understood geological phenomena. When experts compared the Salzburg Cube to known concretions, the match was nearly perfect. Moreover, similar objects have been found in coal deposits around the world. Museums have collections of these iron concretions, and they display the same geometric properties, the same parting lines, and the same metallic composition as the famous Austrian cube. This doesn't mean the mystery is completely solved, though. The original accounts from 1885 are somewhat contradictory. Some sources describe the cube as being perfectly smooth, while others mention surface textures more consistent with natural formation. These inconsistencies might reflect the tendency for stories to grow in the telling. The story of the Salzburg Cube illustrates something important about how we process unusual claims. When we encounter something that seems to challenge established knowledge, we face a choice. Do we assume the most extraordinary explanation, or do we look for more mundane possibilities first? In this case, the mundane explanation turned out to be correct. But that doesn't diminish the cube's value as a learning experience. It shows us how natural geological processes can create objects that seem impossible, and how important it is to examine evidence carefully before drawing conclusions. The Salzburg Cube story has an important lesson about the nature of evidence and belief. For decades, people pointed to this object as proof of ancient advanced technology. But when subjected to rigorous scientific analysis, it turned out to be something entirely natural. This doesn't mean we should dismiss all unusual claims or stop investigating apparent anomalies. But the Salzburg Cube reminds us that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, and that what seems impossible might have a perfectly ordinary explanation we just haven't discovered yet. For some people, learning that the cube has a natural explanation is disappointing. But I think there's something amazing about the real story. The fact that natural geological processes can create objects that look precisely manufactured speaks to the incredible complexity and beauty of the natural world. The Salzburg Cube reminds us that mystery and wonder don't require supernatural explanations. The real universe, operating according to natural laws over millions of years, is capable of producing marvels that seem too perfect to be real. So what's the final verdict? The Salzburg Cube isn't evidence of ancient advanced technology, but it is something remarkable, a perfect example of how the Earth itself can create objects of stunning geometric precision through natural processes operating across geological timescales. The next time you see claims about impossible artifacts, remember the Salzburg Cube. Ask the hard questions. Has this been properly analyzed? Are there natural explanations that haven't been considered? But also, stay curious. The fact that one mystery had a natural explanation doesn't mean all unusual claims are false. What do you think about the Salzburg Cube's journey from impossible artifact to natural wonder? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this investigation into how science can solve ancient mysteries, hit that subscribe button for more stories about separating fact from fiction in our planet's most intriguing discoveries. Remember, the truth is usually stranger than fiction, just not always in the way we expect. Thanks for watching.